Okay, we are officially here and rolling on all of our platforms. Good evening and welcome. My name is Nick. I'm the COO for Communication and Outreach at the Prince George's County Memorial Library System. We are the public library for Prince George's County, Maryland. We have 19 branches throughout the county and amazing online resources available 24/7, as well as a wonderful lineup of virtual programs to get you and your families through this COVID-19 crazy time. We hope that you're all staying safe and well. If you do not have one of our library cards yet, they are free to get online right now, and anyone that lives in the immediate DC metro area and also in the state of Maryland is eligible to get a free virtual library card. So that link is shared in the chat box here in Crowdcast and will also be shared on the other platforms momentarily. We have amazing resources if you're into music, such as videos of concerts. We have on-demand music lessons that you can get through us that are completely free. We have streaming music through Freegal Music, as well as downloadable music that you can download to keep, including a lot of pop music and all kinds of cool stuff. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce our very special guest today. She is Josanne Francis. She is one of the leading Steelpan artists in the world right now, and we are fortunate to have her as a local to our area here in Maryland and the DC region. Josanne is a past Strathmore artist in residence, and she has performed everywhere from Carnegie Hall to the Kennedy Center and into the Caribbean and all over the place. She's a fabulous artist and also a really committed music educator who spends a lot of her time making sure that the gift of music is available and accessible to any youth who would like to learn and experiment. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Josanne. We hope you have a great concert. And if you have any questions, let me know in the chat box and we'll share those with Josanne. Thanks for joining.
Hi, good evening, everyone. As Nick said, I'm Josanne Francis. I'm taking this off because glasses, mask, fogged up. And I'm sure a lot of y'all can relate. Thank you all so much for tuning in. So this evening, I'll be doing a little bit of an edu performance. So I'll be doing some playing as well as some teaching to give you some information about this instrument and also where it came from. So I know some of you may have heard about the steel pan before, and some lucky ones actually got the opportunity to hear a steel pan perform live before, and now you're getting a virtual edu performance about the steel pan. Now the steel pan, this beautiful instrument, is a baby of an instrument when you compare it to some of the other instruments, such as the violin or the piano. It was invented in the 1930s in the beautiful Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, which is where I am also from. And if you do not know where Trinidad and Tobago is, it is just off the coast of Venezuela, which is in South America. If you look at the chain of islands in the Caribbean, we are the very last two islands, Trinidad and Tobago, two islands, but one country. And this was invented post-slavery. Now I'm going to take you through a very, very watered down version of the history of how we moved from what we could have done during slavery to having this instrument today. So back during slavery times and even post-slavery, the freed slaves would use the drum, such as this one, to communicate with each other. All right? So we had the skinned African drums. This was eventually banned. They weren't allowed to use drums to make music and to celebrate and have parties and processions in the street. So what we did was that we moved from the drum to this, what we will call tambour bamboo. So what tambour bamboo is that we have different pieces of bamboo like this. They could be thicker, thinner, different lengths. And you would have a whole group of people hitting this on the street in a specific rhythm and hitting the side of it with the stick. So they would do this in the street and have these big celebrations, especially around carnival time. Now, accompanying the tambour bamboo, so it's like if you take the word bamboo and you replace the first letter with a T, so you have tambu, bamboo. Accompanying this was a type of dance that was done with sticks. We call it stick fighting. It was kind of like a choir, where you would have a choreographed, or not so choreographed, dance, but it's happening between two people, and each of them have what would look like a broomstick or a mop stick. So eventually that too was banned. And when that was banned, we had to move to the next thing that we could find to make music. So we started using barrels, biscuit tins, all these metal containers. And that is how we got to inventing the steel pan. So you started with just a few notes, and then it developed in even more notes. So when we had the steel pan, we would wear it with a strap around our neck. And what we called that was pan around the neck. So pan around the neck. Very, very self-explanatory. Then eventually we got to where we are today, where we have the stands that we can actually hang the instruments on, so we don't have to hurt our necks and hurt our backs by carrying these instruments. So that is a very, very quick and brief history of how we got to develop the instrument from back then to what it is like today. So what I will do is hold up this instrument close to the camera so that you can see the inside of it, for those of you who haven't seen a steel pan before. So this is what it looks like on the inside. This steel pan, this is one of the steel pans that I used to teach with, which is the reason why it has those letters inside of it. So the steel pan is the only new fully chromatic acoustic instrument to be invented in the 20th century. So it is fully chromatic, meaning that it has what you would see as the black notes and the white notes on a piano, and it is capable of playing any type of music. Anything sounds really good on this instrument, and I'm not being biased. So as you can see, you have our notes. And for those of you who have some type of music theory background, the way this particular steel pan is laid out is like your circle of fourths and fifths. So each different bubble is a different note. So the bigger ones are your lower tones, like this, and then your smaller ones are your higher notes. Okay? So just like in an orchestra, which I'm pretty sure all of you all have seen an orchestra perform either live or on TV or on the internet. In an orchestra, you have many different types of instruments. You have your viola, you have your bass, your violin. You have a bunch of different types of instruments that when they come together, we call it our orchestra. The same thing applies to steel pan or steel drum. You might hear them say steel drum or steel pan. It refers to the same instrument. Back in my country, Trinidad and Tobago, where the instrument is from, we just say pan, P-A-N. And you have many, many different types of steel pans in your steel band or your steel orchestra. So for the rest of today, what I'm going to do is demonstrate each type that I have in this room, and also play all of them together. I have some help. I won't be playing all of them together so that you can hear it in context of having a steel band. So this first type of steel pan is called a lead or a tenor, T-E-N-O-R, but it's actually the soprano voice in the orchestra. When the instrument was first invented, it had fewer notes, lower notes, and it was more in the tenor range. That's why it was called the tenor, and we still call it that today. But it's your lead voice, your soprano voice. So in your orchestra, this will be more equivalent to your violin. So I will demonstrate by playing a song. And I love teaching kids, so a lot of the music I'll play today will be geared towards kids, but everyone also enjoys it. This piece I would play is from a very, very famous Disney movie, and I'm pretty sure that you would be able to recognize it. But before I play it, I will just demonstrate the range of this instrument. I'll play from my lowest note to my highest note and not miss any note in between. So I'm going to play a chromatic scale. All right. And here we go with the song. I'm just getting my background music together. Alright, so most of you should have recognized that that was Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid, one of my favorite Disney movies, one of my favorite pieces to play because the kids really love it, the audience really, really loves it. Thank you for that round of applause. Who's that? Oh, from PGCMLS. Thank you. So again, this is your lead steel pan or your tenor steel pan. Again, this is the highest voice, the highest range in the steel pan family or the steel pan orchestra. So remember when I was showing you the pan that you had some bigger notes and smaller notes, and the bigger notes was the lower range. So when you want to get an instrument that has a lot of low notes, you would eventually run out of space on one drum. So when that happens, you have to add a second drum. So just behind and to the right of the tenor steel pan, I have an instrument that requires 2 drums in order to make one instrument. All right, so it has 2 drums to make one instrument, and often, or most of the times, when you hear 2, you hear double. So this is the tenor, and the one with the 2 drums is called a double tenor, okay? Double tenor. So to demonstrate the double tenor, I will play another song for you. That song has a little bit of call and response in it, and I will explain what that is as well. But before I do, that first song, Under the Sea, was kind of in the style of a calypso, and this next piece will also be in the style of a calypso. This next piece was written by someone from Trinidad and Tobago. His name is Anselm Douglas, and later on the song was resung by the Baha Men, and it is a very popular song even today. There are a lot of dance videos online that the kids like to look at and dance to with this song in it, and it's called Who Let the Dogs Out? So in the song, Who Let the Dogs Out? That is what they are chanting, Who let the dogs out? And then you hear barking. So what I would like you to do is participate by barking in response to Who Let the Dogs Out? That's called call and response. So they say Who let the dogs out? And you bark like that bark that we just had there. I don't know what kind of bark that was. Maybe it was a chihuahua, I don't know. So I want you to participate and bark like a dog when we get to that part in the song. Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? We gotta bark. Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? All right, so that was Who Let the Dogs Out. Sorry, I didn't put my phone inside. That was Who Let the Dogs Out. Again, that was in the style of a calypso. I hope that you all were barking over there. I know I didn't have many dogs around here barking, but I hope you were barking at home and joining me. So far, we've done calypso music. The first song I played on the tenor Steelpan, and the second song I played on the double tenor Steelpan. Both were in the style of calypso, and calypso music is from Trinidad and Tobago, just like this instrument and just like me. So Trinidad and Tobago is representing strong today. Now, many times when people see the Steelpan or they think about the Steelpan, automatically they think calypso or reggae music, and they try to limit the instrument in that way, when in fact, the instrument is very, very versatile, very profound. It can play any style of music, like I mentioned before. I play anything from calypso to classical music, ancient Chinese music, reggae music, pop, hip hop, trap, polka, anything that you can name, it can be played on the Steelpan. Actually, I've never played polka music before, but if you have a polka gig for me, I will take it. So like I said, you can play classical music too. So I'm going to just demonstrate very briefly an excerpt from a Bach violin concerto. I'm going to demonstrate it on this tenor. Speaking of classical music, and that kind of mellowed the entire mood. Speaking of classical music, I would play another classical piece to demonstrate the next Steelpan instrument. So the Steelpan instrument here over to my left, I'm going to actually turn the camera a little bit. Sorry, tech person, Jonathan. All right. I turn it a little bit to the left so that you can see the entire instrument. So you can probably see how large these notes are. It has a way lower range than the tenor or the double tenor. And this Steelpan is actually called your cello Steelpan. So just like you have your cello in the orchestra, you have your cello in the Steelpan orchestra as well. See, someone said that they can't hear me. If you can hear me, please just type that you can hear me. I just want to make sure that you can hear everything that I'm going to do here. Okay, so it's coming through fine. So maybe that person needs to turn up their volume a little bit or refresh their screen. So as I was saying, the Steelpan is called your cello Steelpan, and I'm going to demonstrate this by playing just a little bit of a classical piece. This is from Schubert's Ave Maria. All right, so that was Schubert's Ave Maria, one of my favorite classical pieces. It's very, very beautiful, and it sounds wonderful on the cello steel pan with this low, low range. So I'll just play a little bit of it again. It's a very, very short piece, so you can hear the instrument protrude by itself. And it can even go higher. All right, so this is your cello steel pan. So you have tenor, double tenor, and you have your cello. So there's one more type of steel pan that I have in this room, and it's these big bad boys over here. And to demonstrate that, to demonstrate Okay, good. Am I on now? Okay. So we just had some technical difficulty. I'm not sure what that was. But anyway, so we're going to press on. This next piece I'm going to play is Happy from Despicable Me. Just a little bit of it so that you can hear the bass in context. It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. You can take a Alright, so here this by itself. So you hear how nice and low and powerful this instrument is. So with all of these types of steel pans, they are all fully chromatic. I will play from lowest to highest note on the steel pan so you can hear it. Okay, so this is fully chromatic, just like all of the other steel pans that I have in this room. So I want you all to be able to hear all of these instruments playing together like how you might hear in a steel band or steel orchestra. But before I get there, I want to invite you to download some apps. We're going to do a quick play along. You can either do this one or this one. The first one is called #1 Steelpan App Gold. It's $3.99 in your app store. And the second one is called Steelpan 3D. In the Google Play Store, they also have different apps. If you just type in Steelpan, it should pop up. All right, so I'll just hold this up for a few more seconds, and I can show it again a little bit later as well. Thank you. So it's in the comment section. You see it was just posted by PGMLS in the comments. So we're gonna need that in a little bit. All right. So for this next section, I'm going to invite a few of my students who live around here, all wearing masks, to come and just demonstrate the instruments sounding together. So again, the apps are in the comments, so I'll give you some time to download that. So what we will play together and with you as well is just a simple nursery rhyme, Mary Had a Little Lamb. In those apps, you can add the letter names to the notes. So I put the notes here for you so you can see them. Yes, so that's them there. So first, E, D, C, D, then E, 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 D, 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 E, G, G. So I'm going to invite my students to come. I will just play this in unison together at first, okay? So just take a moment, and once you have that app downloaded, you can join us. So let's just do the first line together. So the first line is E, D, C, D. So you can play along with us, all right? I'm going to turn the camera just a little bit so we can get everyone. So all of the apps are listed in the chat, so you can see it. All right? Just to make sure. Awesome. All right, and we're going to go through a little bit quickly, but you can feel free to practice on your own. And I would also give you some resources on where you can learn to play the steel pan. It doesn't matter how old or young you are. Anybody can learn steel pan. It is a very easy instrument to get started on. It takes some time and a lot of practice to master. It's very difficult to master. But to get started on the instrument, it is pretty easy because you can get a really good sound out of the instrument from your very first lesson. Okay? And then we'll open up for some questions afterwards. So the first line in Mary Had a Little Lamb are E, D, C, D. So if you're using your #1 Steelpan app, Gold, these notes would be all on the right side of the steel pan. And that is where we will be working for this song only. All right? So we have E, D, C, D. Let's try that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. And E, D, C, D. Good. All right. Some of y'all got it. Some of y'all didn't. It's okay. We're going to keep moving, keep this thing cooking so that we can get some music going. Second line, we have 3 E's. So let's hear E, E, E. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Next line, we have 3 D's. Can I get 3 D's? 1, 2, 3, 4. D, D, D. All right. If you can't keep up, it's okay. Don't worry. You can always watch on demand afterwards, and you can reach out to me. I can assist you anytime, virtually, of course, right now. So, and then you have what I like to call the egg, EGG. 3, 4. Okay, so if we put those 4 lines together, we have E, D, C, D, E, 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 rest, D, 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 rest, and then the egg. All right, let's try. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 D's, and then the egg. Beautiful. Now the next 2 lines are the same as your first 2 lines, okay? So let's play those 2 lines. E, D, C, D, E, E, E. 3, 4. Good. And then we come to the end so quickly. Then you have D, D, E, D, C. All right, let's try that. 1, 2, ready, go. D, D, E, D, C. Good. So now you've heard Mary Had a Little Lamb. I know we're moving really quickly. I just want to make sure we get through everything today. And this is being recorded so that you can watch on demand afterwards. So thank you so much for joining in live, but you can always watch again after this is finished tonight. So we just played Mary Had a Little Lamb in what we call unison, and we'll play it again so that you have another chance to play with us tonight. 1, 2, 3, from the top. 3 D's and EGG. Like the top. 3 E's and D, D, E, D, C. Thank you for that beautiful arpeggio at the end. All right, so now that you've heard it in unison and that you played along with us, I would like us to perform it in the style of a calypso. So with the style of a calypso, we will have the cello steel pan and the double steel pan doing what we call strumming, okay? So we'll have some strumming going on, and then the bass will play a different rhythm. So I'm going to move this where you can see it, actually. If you remember it, you can play along with us, all right? Actually, let me put it all the way in the back. So we're doing Mary Had a Little Lamb. You probably can't make out what those notes are. But here we go. So we're playing Mary Had a Little Lamb in the style of a calypso. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Play with us. 3, 4. joining us on that last song. We will play one more for you so you can hear an actual calypso being played on these instruments here. So again, we have the tenor steel pan, the double tenor steel pan, your cello steel pan, and we have our bass steel pan back there as well. So these are only a few of the instruments in the steel pan orchestra or the steel pan family. We have many more types of steel pans in the family, okay? So we have tenor, double seconds, double guitar, we have triple cello, we have four cello, we have tenor bass, low bass, seven bass, nine bass, a lot of different types of steel pans in your steel pan orchestra. So if you have any interest in learning to play the steel pan or learning more about educational resources for steel pan, I'm going to share three websites with you. The first one is www.cafeyouth.org. So Cafe Youth is a youth-based program. We also have adult classes as well. And these websites are also being put in the comment section. Then you have Steel on Wheels. So Steel on Wheels brings steel pan to you. So you can bring it to your school, bring it to your church, bring it to your camp, and we will come, set up, and teach steel pan to you for as long as you need us to. All right? And if you have any questions and we don't get to answer them today, you can always email me at management@josannefrancis.com or info@steelonwheels.org. Again, these are being put in the comment section so that you have them when my hand gets tired from holding them up. All right, so you have these two emails, management@josannefrancis.com and info@steelonwheels.org. So thank you. So that's in your comment section. All right, so this last song that we will play for you is a calypso from Trinidad and Tobago, and the name of it is Old Lady. So, in the song is really Lord Kitchener Alwyn Roberts, who is the composer and singer of this song. Old Lady, he's singing ay ay ay, oy oy oy, and she telele. Old lady walk a mile and a half, and she telele. Old lady walk a mile and a half, and telele. Okay, so this about an old lady walking a mile and a half. Why? I don't know, but we will write a song about anything. All right, so please enjoy this one. It's called Old Lady. So we'll start with the bass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would highly encourage you to look up some Calypso songs, some Calypso music that was written by a very, very famous, thank you so much, Vivian. That was written by a very famous Calypsonian. That's someone who sings Calypso. And his stage name was the Lord Kitchener. All right, Lord Kitchener. So you have the word Lord, and then Kitchener spelled Kitchener. So like the word kitchen, but with an ER at the end. Yes, just like that, it's in the comments. So Lord Kitchener was very, very well known. He actually lived in my neighborhood that I grew up in Trinidad, and his music is just phenomenal. So please take some time and look that up. So at this point in time, I would take any questions. If you have any questions, just put it in your chat section. Nick, I'm not sure if you're gonna pop up and
I'm here. I'm just going to do audio so that way they can see you. Can you hear me?
I'm just gonna look in the comment section to see what questions are there.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, great. So we had a comment over on Facebook for you. And just to run down them quickly for you, one person said, favorite instrument. Hawa said, my favorite. Little Mermaid, yay. Love Steelpan, love this. And then we had a comment. Nancy says, playing along was fun. And
Awesome.
then here on Crowdcast, we've had a lot of happy folks, glad to be here, et cetera, et cetera. So if anyone has questions, feel free to type them into the chat box wherever you are. We also had a comment on YouTube from Pam who says, beautiful. Very cool. I was over here dancing in my seat playing along with the app. You should have seen me.
Nice. And I'm so glad that some of the audience members were able to play along.
Yes,
It's just my way of keeping you engaged and feel like if you're part of the show as well.
totally.
We're doing stuff virtually, we're trying our best, and I'm glad that y'all were able to participate as well.
Yeah. So Vivian says, when are you going to do this again?
I don't know. So this is the second one like this I have done in where it is an educational performance, an edu performance. It's definitely something that I'm thinking about continuing to do. So Vivian, I would highly encourage you to send me an email to kind of make sure that I do it, and I would definitely let you know. If you would like to keep up with me and what I'm doing whenever I'm doing something online or whenever things get back to normal, you can please just go on my website and sign up for my mailing list, and I will keep you in the loop.
Awesome. We also had a comment on Facebook from Selena Benitez, who is an elected official in Mount Rainier, Maryland, who says, we loved, thank you. So that's awesome.
You're welcome.
Glad.
I'm actually in Mount Rainier right now. That's where I am
Oh,
right now.
cool. Awesome. Is that
That's
your
where the Cultural Academy for Excellence's cafe.
excellent? Well, we'll have to have you over at our branch library in Mount Rainier that reopened just this year once we're back doing the regular in-person thing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Any other questions, folks? Please type them in. Vivian says, interesting, thank you. Cool. Josanne, can you tell us a bit about where you've performed all over the world?
So I have, of course, I performed in Trinidad. I haven't actually done a lot of performance in the other Caribbean islands, but I performed in England, in Austria, in Germany, and then all over the United States, from East Coast to West Coast, Midwest, and South. I performed at concert venues as well as universities. So I've appeared as a guest for university steel bands or high school or middle school steel bands. I've done workshops on arts integration as well as just on teaching music in general. So I've been around the US quite a bit. There are many places that I haven't been that I would love to visit so that I can spread the love of steel pan and just to keep educating people on where this instrument came from and also what it can do because people don't really know exactly what the instrument can do or is capable of.
Cool. We have another question from Olympia who asks if you want to go play in Boston.
Of course. I would love to. Just send me an email.
Cool. Any other questions, folks? This is your chance to ask Josanne any questions, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube. Let me check Periscope as well, or here in Crowdcast.
Wow, lots of platforms.
Let's check this spot. Question from Vivian. How long have you been doing this?
So I started playing the steel pan when I was 9 years old, eight going on nine, and I am 31 now. So what do you do the math? So since then, since 1998 is when I started. So it's been about 22 years.
Very cool. You got a wow in response from Vivian.
And the thing is, the steel pan is actually the national instrument of Trinidad and Tobago. Many people don't know that. And there are, in every community, every village in Trinidad, there's at least one community steel band. So you could drive around the community, especially around carnival season. If you just take a drive around any neighborhood in Trinidad, you would come across what we call a pan yard, which is just a big open space that just anybody from the community who loves steel pan and knows how to play steel pan, they get together and practice. And some of these groups are as large as 150 players, and they get together and practice and learn one song that is about 7, 8 minutes, and they memorize. Most of them don't know how to read music or write music. They learn it by rote, and they just compete against each other in a competition called Panorama. So there's a lot of steel pan in Trinidad. It's a national instrument, and it's just everywhere.
Very cool. We had another comment from Heather on Facebook who says, "Thank you so much."
You're welcome, Heather.
Yeah, Heather's from Jamaica. Yeah.
Ah, very
She
nice.
lives over in Montgomery County.
Hi.
We know who she is. Another comment. I would love to go to a panorama. Yes, that sounds a lot of fun. Has there been a virtual panorama yet? That might be fun to do.
There hasn't been an actual virtual panorama. There recently was a virtual panogramma
Oh,
that was done on Instagram, and it was a solo competition among people from all over, but it was a solo competition. But there hasn't been a virtual steel band panorama. But that's a good idea. I'll write that down.
yeah, totally. And how can folks follow you on social media?
So you can follow me. I'm on Facebook. I have my artist page on Facebook. It's just my name, Josanne Francis. You can also follow me on Instagram, and it is just my name, Josanne Francis. And when you get on Instagram, you could also see my organization, Steel on Wheels and Cafe, that you can follow as well. But it's very simple. It's just my name, just like my website. It's my name, Josanne Francis. My Facebook artist page is Josanne Francis, and my Instagram is Josanne Francis.
Cool. We had one more question on Facebook from Heather who says, "I love Steel Pan, made me feel like carnival. And what is your favorite song to play?"
What is my favorite song to play? I don't have. Hmm, do I have a favorite song to play? I have a few favorite songs. Like I love playing Tico Tico no Fuba, which is a Brazilian shoulder tune. I love playing that. There's also a piece by Liam Teague, who was my professor when I did my master's in steel pan, a piece called Chant. I love playing that as well with a group. So those are definitely two of my favorite pieces to play. I don't have a one favorite piece, but those are two of my favorite pieces to play.
Very cool. Do one last check of all the comments.
Okay, Olympia, I need to work with you to make sure that we get this virtual panorama going.
Yes. Very cool. And just another plug before we wrap here. Prince George's County Memorial Library System offers free virtual library cards, and anyone in the DC metro area and also in the state of Maryland is eligible to get one of our virtual library cards. And with that card, you can access tens of thousands of ebooks, audiobooks, online classes with lynda.com, all kinds of other cool things. But specifically for tonight, we have a platform called Freegal Music that has a lot of amazing streaming music, and also you can download 5 MP3s a week to keep. And I just took a peek on there, and there is, in fact, steel pan music available for you to download. So if you're not into spending money on Spotify or things like that, use the library. I'll share the link again for getting a virtual card. And if you live in other counties around the area, I know we've had folks from Montgomery County on. All of the libraries in the area have pretty much equivalent access. And if you get savvy with all of this, you can, in fact, if you live in Maryland, get a library card for any system in Maryland and have even more music to download. So one last call on questions for Josanne. And if we don't have any more, we will call it a night. But this has been a lot of fun.
Yes, and I just want to say thank you for PGMLS for making this possible. Thank you for all of you for logging on. Thank you to Jonathan Castro, who was my sound and video technician today, and also my cello Steelpan player. Thank you for Howard Troy, who was playing bass, and Winnie DeLuba, who jumped in on the double pan. These are some of just three of my students who live right around here, and they wanted to come in and just join me and help with this presentation. So thank you to everyone for making this possible, and I hope to see you all again.
Sounds
I love
good.
the mural under the clock. So the mural under the clock was done by one of Cafe's instructors, Elizabeth Caesar, and it depicts the development of the steel pan.
Very cool. Awesome. Thanks, Josanne. We'll see you again
Thank
soon.
you.
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye,
Have a good
everyone.
night, everyone. Stay safe.